Welcome to our daily learning. Welcome to our daily learning in the book of Mishlei, Proverbs, chapter 27, where we share the wisdom of King Solomon as written in the book of Proverbs, the book of Mishlei, chapter 27, verse 12. King Solomon here speaks about the importance of prudence, of seeing things and identifying trends and making decisions based on that. So King Solomon says in verse 12, Arum ra'ah nistar. A wise person sees something that's a problem, sees something that is really problematic, and they hide, they move out. But the innocent, the ones who are not prudent, often go straight into it. So it's really a lot about the importance of prudence. A lot of times something terrible happens and people are like, oh, well, all the early signs were there. Well, if all the early signs are there, make sure you act quickly and remove yourself from a dangerous situation, says King Solomon. So that's an important lesson here. Next is verse 13. Before you decide to put yourself as a guarantor, and before you decide to, thank you so much everyone joining us, by the way, it's great to have everyone here. Before you decide to put yourself as a guarantor, to put your name on something, make sure you do so with judgment, make sure you do so with wisdom, and otherwise you'll find yourself putting your name on things you didn't want. So make sure before you put your name on something, especially if it's a financial guarantee, make sure you know what you're committing to. The next verse is very, very interesting because it says something about giving someone publicity. If someone blesses and says good things about their friends in the morning, someone says good things about their friends in the morning, and however, it can be a curse. Why? Because if you say to someone, if you go tell, for example, let's say someone gives charity. Let's say someone is very charitable and gives you a donation for a cause. And then you go and you tell everyone about it. The next thing that's going to happen is that person is going to have lots of people flocking to them, and they'll be in an uncomfortable situation. So before you go and before you give someone a big shout out, make sure they want that shout out. If they don't want the shout out, you may not want to give it to them. So always remember, if someone gives their friend a very big blessing out loud in the morning, it may end up being a curse. So make sure you're careful. Next is a bit sharp of a message, but King Solomon says the following: if someone has in their house a leak on a cold day, there's nothing worse than that, right? You want to shelter yourself from the rain, from the cold, from everything that's problematic. So you walk into your house, but the roof is leaking and there's water coming in through the roof. So that didn't really help much that you went inside. So King Solomon says that is like a situation of marital conflict. When there's conflict inside of the house, it's like having a leaking roof on a rainy day, because the whole point of going inside of the house was to protect yourself from what's going on outside, and here you are with the conflict inside. Next is verse 17. Next is if a person decides that they're going to hide something from the public that the public is likely to find out, it's like trying to hide wind. Sometimes people think they'll hide something, and it's actually like hiding wind. And it's like someone who is going to anoint their someone's going to anoint their hand with oil. And obviously, if they shake someone's hand, that person is going to know, right? If you put a very creamy hand cream on your hand and then you shake someone's hand, they find out. So too, King Solomon says, if a person tries to hide something that is bound to be found out, then it's not going to help. It's like trying to hide the wind. Some things are just out, are going to get out. Next is verse 17, very interesting. King Solomon says, just like a metal strikes another metal, barzel, just like a metal strikes it's great to have you here. Just like a metal strikes a metal, the ish yachad pnei re'eu, and two people meet each other. Meaning, just like when the only way you can sharpen a knife is by having another knife. Similarly, the only way a human can improve their thinking, their execution, etc., is by meeting another human. If you want clarity on your ideas, if you want clarity on your things you're coming up with and life decisions, the only way you get that is by meeting another person. So just like a metal is needed in order to sharpen another metal, so too a human being is needed in order to, so to speak, sharpen, in the intellectual sense, other human beings. The next verse is just absolutely beautiful. Someone who guards the fig tree is going to be the one who eats its fruits. And now, why a fig tree? Very important, especially if you don't live in a place where there are fig trees. The interesting thing about fig trees is that unlike many other fruits, the fig tree does not give all of its fruits in one time. You cannot harvest all the figs at once. You have to come 1 week, then come a week later. It's an entire season, and you have to come back again and again. Similarly, if someone puts an effort into something and wants to be successful, they, especially in matters of spirituality related to the Torah, then they will never succeed in one shot. It's something that consistency is what wins it. Today, there's so much more awareness of that, right? There's all these books about habits of success, because success doesn't come by one single action. It comes through a habit. So, notzer te'ena yochal pirya. If someone guards the fig tree, that person will eat its fruit. V'shomer adonav yuchubad. And someone who will be loyal and faithful to their master will achieve honor. Meaning, if you have a mentor, a teacher, someone who's really helpful to you, you are going to most likely benefit if you have that relationship with consistency. It's not like one time you'll go to the professor, you'll get all the wisdom. Rather, it's something attained through consistency. The next verse, I know I've said this before, is probably the most famous and most important verse in the book. Kemaim hapanim lapanim. Just like water reflects from the pond or the well, so too can lev adam l'adam. So too is human heart to another. This is so important. When you go to the well, when you go to the lake, and you look, you see your reflection. Now, is that reflection smiling at you or not? Well, it depends. If you're smiling at that reflection, the reflection is going to smile at you. If you give an angry face to the reflection, it's going to be an angry face to you. That is how a heart of a human being is to another. If you have graciousness and kindness in your heart towards others, that will elicit a response where they also have the same grace and kindness towards you. If you show anger to others, that likely is going to come right back at you. So just so important. Just like water reflects your face, so too is the reflection of one person's heart to another. Sometimes people are like, wait, is that person angry at me? Well, ask yourself, are you angry at them? Because often that feeling can come originally from you. Not always, by the way. Obviously, there's situations of people that, it's a very important lesson. Obviously, there are situations where you have only goodness and kindness and happiness in your heart towards someone, and there's always, sort of the grouchy person who's still going to be angry. But by and large, just like water reflects your reflection, ken lev adam l'adam. So too, the heart of a person is to another person. Next is verse 20. She'ol ve'avado lo tisbana. The abyss, you ever see a cliff that has almost an endless bottom? It's like it's absolute abyss. So anything you throw down there is not going to fill it up. Obviously, there's an endless, it's what they call in English a bottomless pit. So this is sort of the biblical version of a bottomless pit. She'ol ve'avadon lo tisbana. The off the cliff and the abyss are never going to be satiated. Ve'einei ha'adam lo tisbana. and the ear and the eyes of a person are never going to be satiated, which means we're always curious. We always want to learn more. We always want to see more. There's never going to be a person who's going to close their eyes and say, you know what, I've seen enough today. Sometimes people say that sarcastically, but by and large, you want to make sure, not make sure, you know that whatever it is that you see, you'll always want to see more. Once again, I know we've had some grand slams today, but I'm going to end off with another absolute grand slam of King Solomon. Really, really, really beautiful verse. Thank you. Matref lakesef v'kur lazahav. Sometimes, if a person's a silversmith, they need to work to extract the non-silver out of it. If a person is working with gold, they need to extract the non-pure forms of gold out of the metal. That's something that you do with the hot furnace. And just like that's a good question. I'll answer it later, but very good question. Just like a furnace cleans the metal, so too ish lefi ma'alalo. So too, you want to know what's the essence of a person? Go ask around what they're being praised for. If a person is being praised for something, that is the essence. That's the core. All the rest, as they say, all the rest is commentary. Basically, if you want to know what the best part about you is, see what people are praising you for, because what a person is praised for, that is their ultimate ultimate quality. That's their ultimate quality. So so focus on that and try and generate that, because that's the pure part of you. So anything you're thinking is going to lead to praise, not fake praise, obviously. Fake praise, as they call it, tombstone praise. Praise that someone would say, after that person passes away in their old age, they say, wow, this person was so kind, was such a family person, was so generous, etc. Those are the essence of who we are, and that is what we should be focusing on. I thank you all very much. I'm going to respond to the comments, and I really thank everyone for being here today. Wishing everyone a very good day. Thank you so much for participating. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much.